Hey fam, Master Coach G here, thriving after 50, mind, body, soul. And in this episode, I am talking about our core values and why they are important. Our core values are important because they serve as a guiding principles that shape our behavior, our actions, our decision making, and just our overall direction in life. They serve as a compass, if you will, in how we interact with others and how we approach life challenges and making life choices, even in business. Our core values are essential because they do guide our decision making and our actions, providing a sense of purpose, clarity, and it also fosters integrity, growth, and compassion. That is why our core values are important. Hey, this is Master Coach G, and I will see you on the inside. Hey fam, Master Coach G here, thriving after 50, mind, body, soul. And in this episode, I'm talking about our core values and why they are important. Core values are important because they serve us as guiding principles that shape our behavior, our decision making, and our overall life directions. So let me share with you several reasons why our core values matter. Number one, it gives us clarity and focus. Core values help us to identify and stay clear on what matters most to us and ensuring that our actions are in aligned with our beliefs along with our long-term goals. Okay, so that's number one. It definitely helps us to have clarity and focus on what it is that we believe the most, and it ensures us that we will stay in alignment with that clarity and focus. The next thing is decision making. Sometimes in challenging situations, our core value provide a moral compass, helping us to be able to make decisions that are consistent with our ethical and personal standards. And we all should have our personal standards. And we should live according to a certain ethic or code, if you will. That is one of the things that definitely helps us to be able to make better decisions in our lives when we understand our core values, because it does provide that moral compass when we're making our decisions. Here's another one, consistency. By living according to our core values, it gives us an opportunity to be able to maintain consistency in our actions and our interactions, which can foster trust, reliability in all our relationships, whether they are marital or partnership or business, family. This allows us to be consistent with our actions. Now, for me, that's key because consistency is a big thing for me. Anyone that knows me knows that I'm consistent with everything I do. So that's one of my core values. A sense of purpose. Core values give you life meaning and purpose. It helps you to find fulfillment, and it also motivates you in your personal life and your professional pursuits as well. So knowing what your purpose is and having that sense of purpose should be one of your core values. Strength in adversity. And we all are going to have adversity because difficult times are going to come. Sometimes life just be lifing, okay? And when life lifes, then we need to have our core values that offer us a sense of strength, helping us to stay true to ourselves, remain resilient, even under pressure. So our core values should include strength in adversity. Here's another one that's really important, building relationships. Now, when we talk about sharing core values and strength with others, whether it's personal relationships or professional environment, they can create a common ground which will foster a mutual respect. That's why our core values are important. So here's some things that we can look at in determining your core values, and some important steps in understanding what drives our decisions and our behavior. Okay, so here's us. I'm going to give you step by step so that we can identify some of these things. Okay, if you want to determine your core values, start reflecting on your life. We have to start there. Okay, think about the key moments in our life. When you felt strong, a sense of fulfillment, a sense of pride, or even when you felt frustration. What values were present during those times? This may help you to recognize truly what matters to you. Okay, so number one, reflect on your life. The second thing is identify your roles. Okay, consider the people you admire the most, what qualities or principles that they embody, and the traits that resonates with you that you would like to reflect in your own values. So when I say, identify your role models, my role model was my grandfather. So I pretty much just kind of like embodied his principles, because I saw that they worked in his life, especially when it came to health and wellness, because the man lived to be 109. So therefore, he was my role model. I took the things that he embodied and I took those traits on because they resonated with me, and some of those things became my core value. Now, here's another thing that we have to realize is that we have to examine our past decisions. Look at significant decisions that we've made in our past and why we made them. And once we understand, where they were driven from, and what those desires were, and just be honest, because we have to recognize these patterns that can reveal underlying values, such as achieving, loyalty, those kind of things. The next thing is list potential values. Okay, I want you to write down a list of potential core values, and let me give you some examples. But you need to come up with your own, whatever suits your life. Okay, but here are a few examples: integrity, compassion, growth, family, creativity, justice, adventure, balance. So what you need to do is you need to come up with some things of that nature, and then you need to put them in order. In what order do they matter most to you? Not to say that they all don't, but prioritize your values. And from this, then you need to narrow down the list to at least the top 5 or 7 and ask yourself which one of these values in your life are negotiable and which ones in your life are non-negotiable. And here's the other thing: test your values. Test your values. Evaluate your chosen values against real life scenarios. Okay, so when you're testing your values, here's what you need to do. How does these values guide your everyday actions? And then ask yourself, would I stand by these values even in a difficult situation? Because we can have, I remember this young man that I met some years ago, and he used to always say, I'm not new to this, I'm true to this, and I think that we have to be true to ourselves. And that's where our core values come in at. We have to say to ourselves, even in a difficult time, will I still stand on my core values? Here's another one: align your actions with your core values. You can't have a core value, say you have a core value, and what you're doing, your actions, what you're doing on a day to day is not lining up with that. It has to line up, period. Because if your decision making according to whatever it is that you're doing, your actions, your core values should line up to that. Once you identify your core values, align your daily actions along with your goals with your core values. This alignment can be providing direction satisfaction to not only your personal life, but also to your professional life as well. So once you identify your core values, implement them in your day-to-day action. Every single day, whatever it is that you're doing, make sure that you are applying your core values. Because this right here, this aligns you. This is the alignment that I've been talking about. That's where you get your fulfillment from, okay? This process is gives you an idea and understanding of your core values, and it will also help you to evolve as you grow. And you will periodically maybe even add to that, okay? But you still want to stay in alignment. You want to be assured that you are staying in alignment with your core values. In short, core values define who we are, and it shapes the path that we choose to follow. That's important. Our core values, okay? So it's like our ethics and our moral compass. Those things determine the path that we're on. But those things are also determined by our core values. So that's why it's important for us to recognize our core values. Core values are a fundamental belief and guiding principles, okay? Trust me, when I always tell you that we'll never get away from principles, we will never, ever, ever, and add 10,000 more evers to that, never get away from principles. Principles that shape us as individuals or even organizations. I've only worked for corporate America. Well, I was in the military, and then I worked for corporate America once in my life outside of the military. And what I came to realize is that, when you work for a company, they all have core values, and it's pretty much like you get your job description, and your job description is almost like these are our values, and these are the things that we need you to do. So even in business, and because I am a business owner, I have core values even for my business because it's necessary. So even organizations have core values. Again, they serve as a compass for how we interact with other people. So you see how it connects with the professional side and the business side. Even when we're approaching challenges, even in the professional side, we still have to have our core values so that we can choose a life or business that is going to be aligned with what it is that we believe. So here we go. Integrity, which is acting with honesty and strong moral principles. Your integrity is who you are even when no one is looking. Respect, valuing others and treating them with dignity. Responsibility, taking ownership of your actions, our actions, and the consequences that come along with those actions. And see, we have to understand that we have to take ownership. But once we take ownership, we have to take responsibility for those actions. And we also have to realize that our actions, every action has a consequence. Okay? Compassion. Demonstrate empathy and kindness toward others. I don't understand what's so difficult about that, but it just seems like it's like so difficult for some people to show compassion and demonstrate compassion and empathy and just to be kind toward others. But I think it should definitely be everyone's everyone's list of core principles. Here's another one, excellence. Strive for continuous improvement and high standards. I even have people say, well, your standards are too high. No, my standards start at the floor. And then so that's my highest standard. It won't go, it's beyond the ceiling. Okay, let me just say that. And when you strive for continuous improvement, then you will have high standards. I am constantly taking courses because I want to improve myself and I want to work and operate in a spirit of excellence. But in order for me to do that, I have to strive for continuous improvement. And that means continuous education. So I have to continue to educate myself in my craft and in my field. Okay, here's another one, especially when you come to talk about having a business or even being in business or working in corporate America. Collaboration, working together towards a common goal. And if we're collaborating with someone, we should all have the same common goal. That should be another value that we have. Courage, facing challenges with bravery and determination, which should be a core value because guess what? Life sometimes life. And when life starts lifing, we need to be able to have the courage to be able to face the challenge with bravery and be determined that we're going to get through it. Here's another one, innovation, encouraging creativity and new ideas. I am constantly having to come up with being innovative with my podcast and coming up with different subjects that I believe because it does affect my life. I also know that at least if it's just one person around the world that it's affecting, at least I'm making an impact. But I have to be innovative with my and creative with new ideas on my podcast and in life in general too. The next one is accountability, being aware and accountable for our actions. The next one is diversity, valuing differences in people and their perspectives. I think that's important because we have to honor other people's core values as well. That helps us to shape our identity with our core values. It fosters a sense of purpose and it contributes to our decision making process. It really does. So we have to understand why our core values are so important. They are very important. And when we get an understanding of our core values and we align our day to day activity with our core values, that allows us to stay on track. It allows us to set a standard. We should all have standards in our life. But once we understand our core values, it helps us to be able to identify our purpose, and it also contributes to our decision making. And that's important because whatever decision we make, we take action with that decision. With action comes consequences. Now, consequences aren't always bad. Consequences can be good. So that's the reason why we have to stick with our core values, because if we stick with our core values and the decisions that we're making, the outcome that we will receive is the outcome that we desire. That's why our core values are important. Hey, that's what I have for you today. I hope this episode has added value to your life. Thank you for joining me here today on Thriving After 50, Mind, Body, Soul. But before I get out of here, I got to give a shout out to my listeners here in the United States, Canada, Australia, Russia Federation, Mexico, Belgium, Ireland, South Africa, Brazil, Nigeria, United Kingdom, Germany, France, Bangladesh, Ukraine, Kuwait, India, Hong Kong, Dominican Republic, and we just added the Philippines, y'all. Thank you and welcome to Thriving After 50 Mind, Body, Soul. I appreciate you listening. Hey, if this podcast was a benefit to you, please subscribe so that every time I drop a new podcast, you will have it available to you immediately. Please follow me, write a review, share it with someone that this may be a benefit to them as well. I appreciate all of you for joining me here today. And remember, knowledge applied is power. This is Master Coach G, and I will see you on the next level.